read it like Harry Styles would, which is to say 3 different accents.
I have no idea what Harry Styles sounds like.
That's okay. Neither does he.
A word. How does Odell? I have to get into it. Thank you so much for loving my music. A word to the wise. We are an explicit podcast tackling content with adult themes, as well as entering spoiler territory. If you aren't caught up with us...
That was 3 different accents.
Oh my god. I can't believe we put to Dell.
The end of the Greenbone saga.
What was that, Cross?
I was just saying that we threw the end of the Greenbone saga for those.
Sorry, Adele possessed me, and then I fought her off towards the end.
And then you were a New Yorker, I think, for a second.
Oh, I did hear
Audrey. I heard Audrey.
I'm actually... Okay, a word to the wise. We are an explicit podcast tackling content with adult themes, as well as entering spoiler territory if you aren't caught up with us.
Territory.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right.
Yeah.
Hey there, this is Cross.
I'm not even going to attempt an accent. I'm PJ.
I'm Ben.
I'm Erin. Hi.
And I am Thomas.
And we, for the last time, are Words and Whiskey, a podcast for veteran and novice readers alike. We tackle fiction novels and talk about what we're drinking. You should think of us as your intoxicating weekly book club.
Pretty fucking final about that, huh?
For the last time. Damn,
Get
Cross,
the fuck
you
out
need
of
to tell
here, you
us
three.
something?
How many episodes was this?
Crossland.
It's like 6 months
30?
of work from us. We started in February.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Good job, everybody.
We started on Ben's birthday.
We never
did.
We're ending on my birthday tomorrow. So
Aw, birthday the birthday.
We never broke up. We're incredible. Next we
May
go on
all
tour.
your favorite podcasts stay together.
Yeah, technically it was 29, but we'll call it 30. We've got one more technically coming down the pipe, but it's going to take a bit. So
I'm impressed with us.
Yeah.
Good job, us.
Yeah, good job, everybody.
good job.
Thank you so much for being our guests, of course. And we've got a couple of little tchotchkes and whatnot on their way to all of you for your
That sounds lovely. I
hard
love a
work with us.
tchotchke.
You don't have my address.
No, I don't. But
Nice.
it's sitting at my house, so I haven't been able to mail them out yet. So way to call me out, Thomas. When I get back home in a week, I will send them to you.
I was just
God
concerned because
I
I
hope your
moved a
house
bunch.
is still there.
Yeah. Hopefully my apartment's still there.
What'd you set the thermostat to? Because you left like months ago.
So my parents and brother live there.
69.
It's been at 77, I think. So yeah.
They
Your
live in
parents
your
and
apartment.
brother live in your apartment. Your 1-bedroom apartment.
They're like little elves.
You guys. And today is our final episode, and we're going to be talking about the entirety of the Greenbone saga by Fonda Lee. But before we talk about that, why don't we talk about these cocktails that we brought to the show today, huh?
I have one. It's
You do?
called the Mule of Jan Loon, or the Jan Loon Mule, working title. It's not as blue as I hoped. It was supposed to be bluer for Jade Legacy. It is classic mule minus the vodka. I replaced that with a pineapple rum. And I also replaced in addition to the lime, I did a blueberry simple syrup.
Nice. How's it taste?
It's very good.
Can you hold it up again? It looked kind of like a green blue.
Yeah,
It's more green even.
Yeah. So it's, I guess, perfect for Jan Loon then.
It's Jade City.
Yeah, that works out great. I mean,
Really
if you
tasty.
really needed it to look blue,
I'll
it
go
could
get the
be,
blue raspberry. I'll just dump
you could
it in.
add some curacao to it, but
Yeah, I'm
That's
not a Japanese film director, so I did not add curacao to it.
Kurosawa, you asshole. I say we're just going hard on the memes today, or the make fun of Crossland. I'm very excited.
We've all banded together against you.
For the final time.
We all know how PJ feels. At least Ben and I do.
Yeah. I'm glad
That's
I
fair.
have some commiserators amongst you.
Hey, Batman, what are you drinking in your cave there?
It's gotten so much darker, hasn't it?
He is the noise.
Now it looks kind of sad. Like
Bob?
a nest of some sort. So unless anybody wants to claim the name for themselves, I'm naming it after the movie that we came up with last week, which was Dye Green. It is 1.5 ounces of gin, 1/2 ounce of absinthe, 1/2 ounce of green chartreuse, 3 ounces of pineapple juice, 1 ounce of cinnamon syrup, 3/4 ounce of lemon juice, and it is garnished with a lemon wheel. And it's something that Cross and I threw together last week, and I've changed a couple ingredients and changed some ratios, made it a little bit sweeter than what we had, changed out the we had maraschino liqueur instead of the chartreuse, and it is absolutely lovely. It is a non-rum tiki drink effectively, but it is just an herby mess, and I love it.
And it looks beautiful.
You've drank half of it, so
We're having a good day.
If I had thought of it before, I think this would be perfect with a charred cinnamon stick as the garnish for the aroma. I think that would have been perfect for this drink, but I did not think of it until right when we started recording.
I have a genuine question. Mm-hmm. When you make these drinks, do you already have all this stuff, or do you go buy extra stuff?
Yeah, I guess lately I've just been using what I've got. Hence why almost every single cocktail I've done in the last several weeks has been strictly with cinnamon syrup, because I haven't needed to make simple syrup otherwise. So yeah, cool. I've just been working with what I've got. I've got a pretty extensive collection of bottles from this show. Traditionally, I'd choose a cocktail and then I'd get the ingredients for it if I didn't have them. And slowly I accumulated an entire bar's worth of random. So Now I'm kind of riding that out.
Sounds delish. Ben, what are you drinking?
Our bartender here at Casa de Baumhof is occupied with homeowner things. So
yeah, our sewer overflowed, so John's cleaning the basement.
Oh no!
Oh fuck!
So I did not get to employ him. So I'm just drinking some bourbon on the rocks, and it's quite lovely. It's a Larceny bourbon.
Nice,
and I'm enjoying it.
Larceny is one of those that punches way above its weight class. It's so fucking good, and it's pretty affordable.
Very much so. Very much so. I would agree. I'm really enjoying it.
Nice. Crossland
sounds
shop?
Great. Yeah, so I am having what I've dubbed the Pillar of K-Con. It's ultimately I'm naming it after his favorite beverage of choice that he had multiple times, which, of course we like the Hoji Spin, but he was a big grapefruit soda fan. And so it is effectively a passion fruit twist on a Paloma. So think making a Paloma, add a splash of grapefruit soda, replace all the lime with grapefruit juice. What that comes out to is basically 2 ounces of tequila, a 1/2 ounce of triple sec, 2 ounces of grapefruit juice, and then 1/4 ounce of lime juice because it still needed a little bit of the stronger citrus back, and then 1/2 ounce of passion fruit syrup. And it is delicious. It tastes like something that you could imagine Fonda writing about, and it is perfect.
I love a Paloma and a grapefruit.
Yeah. The passion fruit syrup is just so good inside of it as well. It just kind of rounds the whole profile out beautifully.
That almost sounds like it wants some jalapeno garnish.
You could go like a jalapeno garnish and go like what your drink was on Saturday after your bachelor or Sunday after your bachelor party.
You guys drank on Sunday?
We did. Just one morning cocktail, and that was a mistake. For the record, let it be known.
I didn't.
No, you didn't. Wait, when did you get the?
That was at Topgolf.
Oh, it was. Okay, you opened up with
that was the opening of the bachelor party.
Yeah. Okay, never mind. You're right. But yeah, 2 of us did.
It's all
3 of us had
cloudy.
cocktails that morning. But anyway,
Not I.
Yeah, not PJ.
And then I'm drinking a tall glass of water.
Aaron has heartburn.
because the series is over.
Or she's old.
Or I won't.
You can just do a weekly Discord call if you're going to miss us that much, Eric.
Do it.
Yeah.
You got to teach me how to use Discord. I'm still behind. I was like, can I pick one channel? There's so much shit going on. And then everyone talks so fast.
I recently...
Does everyone do it on their computer?
A lot of people.
Sometimes.
Is that why? I'm like, on my phone, there's no way I could keep up.
Some Discords go a lot faster. Words and Whiskey, for instance, is a lot slower just because of the number of people. It's not a larger public server, but...
It's like pew, 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 pew.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Pew, pew, pew.
Great. Your drinks look great.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to get into these bets here. And we had some we're kind of going to go in a weird order here. I've got the final bets first, which we're going into the final episode. The first one from PJ. PJ, do you want to read your bet?
No. Hilo survives, but Wen dies and Hilo steps down. I would like to argue that Hilo kind of stepped down by dying.
He planned to step down.
Now, he didn't plan to step down.
But
I want to clarify with Thomas something. Is this one bet or is this 3 bets?
I mean, let me open up the notes because I don't have them open. I was just looking at you people. Let's see.
The question is what happened.
But
the question was what happens to Hilo.
Survives.
It seemed,
but at most it's 2.
It's at least 2.
I think it's 1. Yeah. I think it's a big trade if we want to do.
I think it's 2.
At most 3.
I'll take 2.
I'll take 2. We'll settle on 2.
I was good cop just then.
I know. I appreciate you.
Sometimes I won't be.
All right. I dig that. So with this, Ben, yours was very simply
Hilo dies. Correct.
Excellent. So the two of us, the pair of us,
hold on. I'll be right back
for you. He's drinking straight out of the writer's tears bottle.
Hilo, I love you.
Oh, no.
You will be missed. I feel like I can't drink some fruity little beverage I made when I'm talking about Hilo dying. You know what I mean? I need like a serious stiff drink for that.
I totally
require a stiff drink.
And then Aaron, we're going to have you read yours, even though we'll have you pay for them later. But you said
none of the no peekers die.
And?
None of them.
Yep.
And Ite and Shay shake hands, and that's how the book ends.
Now that is 3 bets if I've ever seen it.
So here's my deal. I think that the final one is actually way more on.
Right. And only one no peeker dies.
Okay. That's 1 is more than none. So that's wrong.
Mm-hmm. That one is very definitely.
Remembrance.
It's fine.
We're reading here. Ite says, what about Kyle Shaylinson? After all her efforts, I deceived her. I put both of her brothers in the ground. Why isn't she here? She told me she has nothing else to say to you. She spared your life once, and she says that's all the gods can ask for in this lifetime. Okay, you kind of need to be physically present to shake someone's hand, would be my contention.
Hey, now.
The spirit.
I think the spirit of the answer is right.
You can give me 2 drinks.
It's more of a fool me once.
All right, we're going to tally 2 up for Aaron.
Shame on you. Fool me twice, can't get fooled again. That's what that was.
Won't get fooled again. Yeah.
Is that Michael Scott?
I was doing George Bush.
But
oh, that's right.
Similar.
Okay.
Getting into the rest of this. We had bets on Barrow from Jade City. PJ, you said
feral and desperate with Jade. He will show up.
Excellent. We take a drink because that did all happen.
Did I really say it as with
Aaron?
Desperate with Jade?
Yep.
Well, desperate for Jade is what I meant to say.
Hey, I'll drink to that. Also because I have to.
Which bet is this? This is just Barrow. Oh, at the end of Jade City.
Just
that's
what
when we made
happens
this.
to Barrow. He's not really desperate with Jade. He's always.
Well, I think this is the end of Jade City. When did we ask this one?
This was Jade City through. This was asked within Jade City, but was technically left over. So it was kind of a how is he going to come back in Jade War kind of thing. But then in addition, we let that kind of linger over as like kind of a cumulative thing because there were more bets on Barrow. So
the answer
here, Thomas, is that we're drinking for all of them because ultimately the Barrows are right. Just twice because 2 bets were identical.
These betting rules make no sense.
Ben and Aaron bet the exact same thing.
Yes, we'll get Jade. Yes, we'll show up again.
Yeah, but like if two bettors make the same bet, they both get paid.
Sure. All right, we can drink twice. I don't care. That's fine.
Pay the man his money.
Wow, this
We're just
guy
gonna get real drunk. That's what's
fucking rounded references out here.
Check.
Love me some rounders. Next up, Lawn and bets on Lawn. Jade City, Jade War. The question was, what's going on with Lawn? And you, PJ, and everyone else here tripled down. I asked in the moment.
Believe it. I'm still in on this one.
I also,
we don't know for sure.
Out front on Main Street.
Jade is poison part of this is actually, I think we're right. The Jade is poisoned because it is.
Well, I don't think Jade is poison. That's just Cross's opinion. So
I do think that Jade is meant to be a metaphor for power and poison.
Power is good.
Okay, well,
if I have it,
I will
go down a difficult road.
I will take my loss and add to my tally, which is up to 3.
Well, here's the thing.
No, you tripled on that. So
when all 3 of you agree that's a shot, we made that rule.
We did make that rule at the moment.
But then also we would take shots of you.
I'm at 7. I'm just going to shotgun a beer when I'm drinking again.
Perfect.
Send us a video. Put that on Reels.
Yeah, we'll put that on Reels as your makeup for that.
Then everyone can see how terrible I am at shotgunning. It's very entertaining.
Tut. My sister, I
Mellow
learned...
fucking corn, PJ.
Mellow fucking corn, 100 proof.
I learned
corn whiskey.
That my sister shotgunned a 4 Loko. And
a real one or a
reformed one because she's younger than me, but still nuts, still insane behavior. Yeah. I was like, I learned this like 2 years ago. I was like, what the fuck? What? Why? How?
Pretty impressive.
She was crazy.
This maybe
it was a stash from like 2006.
I doubt it, but anyway, tut. Back to it.
All right, PJ, Ben. I think you owe us.
The
drinks.
Oh, we just decided that we lost that one?
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. We decided that we lost that one.
The whole system is rigged.
So you have no power here.
Interesting. Well, maybe
if y'all haven't tried Mellow Corn, free ad for Mellow Corn here. This shit's good. It's cheap, but it actually is very
use
good.
It to power your car, do all manner of things.
It's not great as a sipper, but it is a good whiskey.
Paint thinner.
It's not that. It actually like it tastes fine as a sipper or as a shot. I wouldn't like just have a glass of it on neat. I might have it on the rocks though. Sorry.
All right.
Free ad over.
Ben, were you going to say something about how you felt that this was rigged?
No. I'm fine.
No.
I accept your decision. There may be an appeal process.
Yes,
at some
dictator.
point,
we don't disagree.
God damn it. Okay, so Jade City, Jade War. This was a bet that came up in the middle of the season. By what mechanism do you believe the Jade to be poisoned? Because you guys would not let it go, and so you made us ask this question. We did not choose to do this.
I think I asked it hoping for a way out for you guys. I think I asked it super frustrated. Like, how the fuck do you guys think the Jade is poisoned?
I think you guys are leading the witnesses.
First of all, leading witnesses is allowed if they don't object.
I object.
This whole court is out of order.
It's so late. It's so late to object. You are months late, my friend.
This is horseshit.
Well, I was acting from a place of ignorance. I didn't have all the information. The discovery.
All right, PJ.
I think we live in a structure of law in which ignorance is an excuse.
PJ, read your thing.
Gold is a part of it. The sayings don't come from nothing, naturally. Gom intentionally sacrificed himself. Poison pill by the mountain.
So Gom was the guy that was dueled back in Jade City. You were sold that he poisoned him in the moment.
I do love that the duel is part of it bit. That is fantastic. Sometimes your guys'
I like poison pill sacrifice in a duel too.
Sometimes your theories were so good. I was like, I wish. This is cool.
I mean, it would have made sense for maybe not another bioenergetic material, but something that reacts with and alters the bioenergetic jade could have been a really, really cool mechanic. But I think I was still at that point in the hard fantasy realm of Brandon Sanderson and like trying to suss out the like hidden mechanics that we're dealing with, and that just isn't the case here. But I really wanted it to be in the moment.
Hidden mechanics.
Since mine is basically PJ's, I said found bad jade in the mine, similar to PJ intentionally sacrificed himself to be a poison pill by the mountain. I just copied PJ.
Except you said found bad jade in the mine.
But found bad, that's where they got it.
I dig it. Tally that one up. Throw it on the list. PJ, take the drink.
I'm up to 8.
Because I was led into making up a crazy theory. I was asked to make up a crazy theory about what I thought. So I started making stuff up. Here is what I said. I said it was chemically poisoned, like the opposite of shine. They developed a negative shine and injected it into the jade. And then I also was on the poison pill situation.
Do you think they'd call it anti-shine, or do you think they'd call it dim?
Dim is dope.
I should have thought of that. I guess
Dim
I will
would have been
drink.
great. As you should.
Listen,
All
we
right.
tried to lead you out of that, to be fair.
We tried so hard. There are so many frustrated text messages
Let us
between Thomas and I.
Obviously.
Yeah. we were like, how do we get them off of this thought process? Because it could derail the whole first book. It was brutal.
So I feel like this is a great example of a situation that you guys handled very well. First couple books that Crossland and I covered, there were some hiccups in like falsely leading me into beliefs, and this was like actively trying to lead us out of it without giving anything away. And I really appreciate that, letting us like flounder a little bit, but not feeding into it and like letting us believe or giving us reason to believe that it might be more true than it was. So I'd like to point out that I think that you, Crossland, for sure, probably because Thomas is better than you, have gotten better at leading these conversations.
170 episodes. And
I was going to say that's one of the hardest parts is trying to figure out which strings to pull and to like indulge your crazy theories, but not confirm them when you're so far off sometimes. Mm-hmm. And then also when one of you, usually Ben, nailed it. I was so worried that I would not have a straight face. And I feel like I did. I think I only got caught once and I played it off. And Aaron caught me.
Yeah, that was always very difficult.
Well, I forget what it was, but there was one time you were like, you're making a face. I was like, what? Me?
Faces?
It's pretty good.
I don't even have
not
a face.
La La. Yeah, but Faces is the band for La La. Before we move on, you guys had a theory about Andon putting Jade back on in Spenia that I don't think we made a bet of, or at least we might have paid it off already, but it was basically that Andon would be a vigilante after seeing like the harm in the community without Jade, and or something like that. And I was just so excited for like Andon as Spider-Man. I texted Cross. I was like,
would have been so.
I was like, Cross,
cool.
I have a theory for you. I haven't read this book already of what I think's going to happen.
Yeah, it was another great idea.
It would have been a really fun storyline, but I think we would have been deprived of the actual story of Andon.
Perfect.
Which is beautiful and delicate and raw. Oh. And I think that would have been...
And scholarly.
Quite.
Indeed.
Let me twirl my mustache real quick.
I almost forgot who Lot was for a second.
All right, Lot. So, PJ, you said
He convinces Andon to come back to become green again, actively, verbally, orally.
Orally.
Did not happen. We did not get a...
And it says you already paid for it.
Vote.
You did. So I just wanted to reiterate.
Again. I still wanted it to happen.
I mean, you
my
can
mom
drink again if you'd like, but
so this is related, very, very related to Hope Wish It Happened. My mom is very much on the Lote is a queer character train. She was like, he got married, he never remarried. Always like a lot of references to him as a bachelor later in life. Always like the weird tension with Andon. I was like, wait up, let her cook.
He could be bi.
I think so.
Everyone's
that's
a little
like
gay.
Yeah. All of a sudden, Avenue Q.
I love that.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yours?
Ben, yours is the only one that didn't get paid off here in the moment.
Wait, mine was run off to Aspenia with Andon by the end of the book, and I already paid because that didn't happen.
But it was
Definitely not.
But it was a good thought. I was very down with the idea.
Thanks, Cross.
I had a similar thought in that moment in that book.
I said he's sticking around for family and that he's going to get killed tragically. He probably should have. But
why do you hate Lote?
He's the man who lived. I'm glad he lived.
Ben hates losing.
I feel like he should have gotten killed in that house.
Yeah,
that he
for
went to
not
and
letting
Down the
White
tunnel.
escape. Oh, getting his pillar killed, loser.
What a dude. What a
I'm
man.
sure he feels bad about it.
What a man,
Sure
bro.
feels
Dude.
very bad. Can't wait for any of you to reread this at any point. Like going through Lote a second time as a character or additional passes is so fucking cool.
I'm
He's
sure
I
easily
would have described it too.
one of the best characters to watch. Yeah. Cool.
I'd assume same with like Vin and all of the characters that aren't like super spotlighted, but show up very, very early on.
Yeah.
And we
You
see
get
their
sprinklings.
their progression very clearly. I think this is worth a reread at some point.
Having reread it, yes.
And, I mean,
It's a lovely. Yeah.
I have had a great experience fairly recently rereading all of Red Rising in a very different way than we covered on the podcast. So maybe I will more quickly come back and reread all of these and experience it in the sort of binge session, at least book by book, consume it.
Unless you hate a book, always reread it, honestly.
Yeah. You always get more for the most part. All right, we're on to Jaya, and then we've got one more after this. So with Jaya, we had some bets here placed. Pretty simple ones. PJ?
Hilo and Shay 2.0 in Jaya and Nico. This one I'm going to leave up to the tribal council to decide whether or not to drink for it, because I think it is fair in that they are the two call leaders of No Peak, but they are not Pillar and Weatherman. They are Pillar and Horn. And Jaya didn't go through the same sort of leaving and coming back situation that Shay did, but Nico did. Like I feel like there's a lot there that's right, but there's not. It's not perfect. So I want to hear what you guys think.
I think it's close enough, and I'll drink to that.
Abide. All right.
Sure. I was going to call it a push, but I'm down for that. So I'll take that.
Keep drinking, because Ben and Aaron both said that Jaya would become a
that
green
doesn't
bone,
fucking
which is
count.
very.
we were
Very
willing to
loose.
take this.
I
but
think I
cheers.
protested in the moment about that one.
Drink.
I feel like
Drink.
I'll take
just
Thomas's.
the existence
Drink,
of
drink,
the what's the name of the list of characters at
four.
the beginning of the book?
Oh, the dramatis persona?
Yeah, that called out some of Jaya's classmates at Call du Chiron Academy.
Yeah.
You guys
Explicitly-
allowed it to
I didn't.
happen. You
I did not
accepted
attempt
the
that.
as the house, and you now
Which
have
is
to
why
pay
it's at
it off.
4. I already
There
took
have
the
been-
punishment. We don't need to
There
debate
have been
this any
times
longer.
I've denied bets, and I've protested with Frost in live on the show. I had something to say, but now I don't remember. Now I do.
It appears that it was
Dramatis Personae in a book, if I see it, chances are I'm buying that book. I'm a slut for Dramatis Personae in a book. It's a cool move. It's a classy move. I love it.
going to keep that in mind.
I will buy. I mean, I buy it anyway, but I'd buy 2 copies then.
Edit my book.
I'm whatever the opposite of being a dramatis personae slut is.
None.
I don't read
none because you have no interest.
I only double check.
I go to page 1 and start reading.
I usually don't read them until I start the book, but I just like that they're there. I think it's classy. I think it's cool.
Yeah, for me, it's when I hit the name in a sequel and I don't recognize the name that I'll flip to this thing and be like, okay, cool. Because often, with the exception of the one book in Red Rising, it doesn't spoil anything. The exception of Dark Age, for the most part.
And this book.
Technically, there's it's fine. But you don't really... Yeah, okay. All right, I'll accept that. All right, final bet, and then we'll talk about other things other than decisions that you made in the past.
Right.
So we were talking about Barrow. PJ, you said.
He dies in the same harbor as Lon, poetically. And I fucking think he should, but he didn't, so...
Drinks out of a straw.
Part of me thinks that in a series, we would see a distant end to Barrow and him just choosing to fall into the harbor at like 70 years old. But...
yeah.
In my head, this is still the canon ending.
Barrow's
That's
not the type
suggesting.
to kill himself, so...
No, but he would wait there to die.
He never really wanted to.
Tried to kill himself with Nico.
Yeah.
He's going to die.
Passively.
Robbed. He's going to be talking too much.
I'm saying he wouldn't, like, drown himself.
He talked too much in the taxi cam.
Jaya's going to get
Someone's just going to be... No, not even like a spite killing. Like, he's going to be talking too much, and he's going to annoy the wrong random criminal. And he'll die unknown, unloved, uncared.
Wow.
I feel like the most poetic ending to him would be him
ripe old age,
like dying, suicide by Greenbone, trying to like pull an earring out of someone on that harbor.
That's what he wants, though. Mm-hmm. I hope he like.
And so few people get what they want.
Fucking chokes on a mango pit or something stupid.
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
Accidentally gets like horrible food poisoning at Twice
Shits himself
Lucky
to death.
and like shits himself to death. Dies of dehydration.
That's the canon ending.
I said Barrow goes to kill himself, but something on the other side of the story comes by and he has to make a choice to kill himself or get involved, and he gets involved. And that didn't happen. Although I would argue
very
that
vague.
He did try to kill himself.
I kind of, so the reason I marked this one oddly because I was like, I'm not sure how I feel about.
What do you mean something on the other side of the story?
Like just like one of
the
Greenbone clans come by and he has to decide to get involved or not.
Okay.
Like kind of do the right thing is the way that I'm taking the end of your
phrase. I would say this is
When was this bet made?
This was within the last episode, before the last episode.
Yeah, it was after Rue. Yeah.
So before or after Nico came to see him?
Ben takes the drink. Took the drink.
It was before Nico came to see him, but after Rue, I think.
Pretty good bet.
Ben chose to take the drink, but I think that was a good. I think that was a good read on what could have happened.
I would say that's more of a push.
In some ways, some of this he tried.
I'll trade to that one. The little drink.
There you go.
Thomas is thirsty, but like refuses to drink.
Call me Sisyphus.
So yeah, I said I don't think Barrow can die.
I think we have to push this, and we have to ask Fonda Lee if Barrow can die.
Is Barrow by Jen? You know, like that's the question.
That's not what I meant. I mean, he's a cockroach.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the ultimate.
I don't like this Barrow's by Jen thing, even as a joke. Once again, I just want that on the record.
I'll take the drink though, Aaron, for you, but we can push it to Fonda Lee in the moment.
I think the book's over, so you guys both have to drink, Thomas.
There you go. I think she's right.
Drink your yummy turquoise drink. Turning more green.
Excellent.
Now.
As green as you are in the soul.
Thank you.
All right. So we've got questions now to go into now that we made it through the bets. That took a little bit longer than I thought it would, but here we are on the other side. We finally made all of those up from all of the decisions that you made for all of these days.
We were all still fighting.
It's true, especially about the Poison Jade. So, Thomas, you want to kick it off?
I would love to. We've been through quite the journey with this series, and one thing that's been asked each of his recaps and also the first episode something I'm going to ask again. Knowing all we know now of the power, the downfall, where it goes in society, would you want to wear Jade?
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
I like superpowers.
Aaron has not changed in the slightest. It's consistently been, yes, I like superpowers. Duh, Crossland. Why have you continued to
Why do you think I read this
shit?
Yeah, because I want superpowers.
I'm going to say
Yeah,
no. I don't want to
totally.
be hunted.
Those looks.
I just don't want to have to like defend myself constantly. And
Don't worry, I'll protect you because I'll have Jade.
And
It's just a liability.
if I say the wrong thing to somebody, then I'm gonna have to like get in a fight over it. And I don't like to fight, so
He's just a big softy.
I feel like that is an answer to the question of, do you want to be a green bone?
Which I think is an important question that I also have on this list. So I think that that's a clarifier that we can ask at the very least. But PJ, I want to hear your answer of, would you wear Jade?
I'd totally wear
can
Jade,
clarify.
but I would not sell my soul to be like beholden to an ancient set of rules about
Soft. So you'd be a Tispenian? You'd be an Espenia?
yeah, he wants to be Corey.
Yeah, just a soft
Lame, like a
little
butterfly.
piece of shit
Lawyer.
lawyer with
But
a couple of pieces of jade on
Jade's
his
a
nipples.
good lawyer, at
belly
least.
ring.
Yeah,
Not the worst type of lawyer. Crossland, would you wear Jade?
Aaron, would you be a greenbone?
Yes, 100%.
Greenbone. All right, Aaron's a greenbone. Ben, you're no to Jade.
I'm out on all of
Wow.
You're out on all of it. Okay.
Where would you live?
Yeah.
Leave? Where would you leave? How could I leave without you?
just be like
Thomas,
a lantern. I'd be like a lantern man or something, you know.
Oh, you'd still work
Yeah.
with the clan? You wouldn't like live
Wow.
in
You're
Espenia,
just sucking the teat.
hanging out with Kelly Dowk?
No,
That's
I don't want to go to Espenia.
PJ hanging out with
Those
Kelly
people-
Dowk. She wanted to answer him.
The scene in Jan Loon
Fucking
sounds
lawyer.
pretty cool, but I just don't want to be mixed up in all the gang warfare.
Lame.
Would you want to be Danny Sento?
Sinjo?
Ooh, there. No, okay.
Sinjo?
Ooh,
Actually, if
all right,
I could
we
wear
found the
Jade and
avenue.
be Danny Sinjo, then yes,
Sinjo.
I'm in.
You would want to be a movie star.
Yes. I'm
There
back-
we.
I'm
You
back
want to
in
be
now
Jackie Chan?
Guy Green.
with Jade.
So not a greenbone, but yes to Jade.
Yeah. If I can be a movie star.
Facts. Thomas asked, of course, and I'll ask it back to you, but no, my answer is firmly no. It's been no. My answer since the beginning is
Lame.
no. But problem with doing these episodes in the way that we do is that I can't tell you the reason why I feel that way. And in the end, it's because I believe that Jade is this symbol of power and that it proves to corrupt a lot of people along the line. And despite their best attempt to create rules as such, I think that's kind of the core of the story in a big way. And so I would have a tough time bending to that will, like PJ was saying, in the Green Bone Clan form, but also just being out of control with something that I can't tame, like a drug addiction that gives you power. No way. Not my thing.
So even with the development of SN2,
I don't think that
And,
solves
like,
the problem. That just increases
further-
tolerance.
Just don't wear
yeah,
it.
which is the problem,
You're control. You have control,
right?
Don't wear it.
I think the problem is greed.
Yeah.
Is what crosses.
But power causes greed. Yeah.
I would say it's
You don't have
those
to seek
Right.
power.
foolish.
PJ, let him have his
Everyone
answer.
does.
Only Ike really does. Well, select few in our story do.
PJ, you and me,
Select few in our
you
story.
and me can take all the Jade.
Hilo, who does?
What does Corey do?
No, he
Hilo
doesn't.
does. Hilo
Corey?
He
seeks power.
seems to kill Ike.
Corey's weak.
Hilo is happy. Hilo
does
doesn't want to be
seek
Pillar at all, and then he becomes Pillar. He's reluctantly thrust into his
No,
role.
we're talking about different levels of power. He constantly is seeking out new Jade until he hits a certain threshold, and once he hits the threshold,
He's
And
already
gotta
at
beat-
the start of
But
the
then he's
story,
got-
though. He's
gotta-
at the threshold where he doesn't need more Jade. It's not in pursuit of
but we
Jade.
see
He's
him
in pursuit
before that.
of power to keep his family and his allies strong. It's different things. I would
Right,
wear
right.
Jade. I'd be
We're
a green
missing-
bone. I would be the Pillar. I would fuck up the mountain plan.
I love that for you. I love that for you.
It's
We
those.
got,
also
we got a
wouldn't-
pretty wide
It's those
spectrum on this answer.
planless, jadeless bastards who are, they're greedy for Jade. They don't know nothing about it. That's who's ruining things. The plans are good.
I'm 100% on Ben's side before he decided he wanted to be an
The
actor.
plans are good. They are just. They are right. Jade, for lack of a better word, is good.
I don't think so, but that's the point. That's kind of the moral point of the story, right? That makes it fun and interesting. So love it for that reason. So I love this question. Thomas, all of your questions are at the top, so I'm just going to let you ask your 3 and then we'll kind of flip around.
Okay. So asked this a few times as well. Whose story do we think this is ultimately?
Shay's.
Kilo's.
I have a
call family. It's probably just a call family, really.
No peaks.
Yeah.
It's hard not to answer with
anybody's
something more.
Singular story, it's Hilo's, I think. But
if it's anybody's singular story, I think it's like K-Cons.
Right.
Jan Loon.
I think it's a cultural story. For me, it is Green Bones. It's the story. That's why I love the title, The Green Bones Saga, because that's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like an individual story. It's a cultural story.
Jade's story in this given time period.
Given the full breadth of the story and just the conclusion of it and everything, it's hard for me to not feel like the first 2 books were entirely like prequels and the entire story belongs to Nico somehow.
That's crazy.
But
it's also good.
I don't know, man.
Sort of the pillar story, because the third book is what makes me think it's Hilo's story. If you have to pick like one character from the books, because it counts down or up his time as pillar, but that's what we're counting. And then once Nico becomes, it's the first weeks, and then how 3 months later or whatever. I think the pillar.
Strangely, the one constant through all of the perspectives is Ait. Like, I could make a really solid argument if I took some more time to think about it to say that Ait is the main character in this story. But I haven't taken
the time to
think about it.
We haven't made mention of the fact that it is also definitely Barrow's story, which is interesting.
That's better left unsaid.
Barrow's in a lot of Jade City.
Yeah.
And then Jade, he kind of fades out in Jade Legacy.
But it starts with him. He's the first character we meet. And
he's the last one we see.
He's not quite the last one we see, but he's in the last chapter at the very least.
He's in the car.
Yeah, but Andon, I would say, is the last, like the singular last we see.
Right. The shot fades on Andon with Barrow in the background in the taxi. It's tough. It's interesting as far as the question goes, because I think that it is, again, I really like the cultural answer. I really like these like individual characters. It truly is a generational story, which is what I find so fascinating about it, because the first 2 books are, I like your sort of phrasing or thoughts on it, PJ. They are almost like prequels to the real story that comes in Legacy, which is to give breadth to the impact that all of these decisions have had that they made in the past, and to kind of pay off these sort of long games that make this a clan war and make this a gang war in a big way.
It's our story.
Has anyone read anything that they would call similar to this?
I would say really quick, it's almost like while we all think on that, I guess I'll buy time for everybody. It's almost like PJ's point, a prequel, but it's almost like until the last 3 chapters, it's a prequel, and then it's like Nico's story, but we don't get Nico's story. I don't know if that makes sense. But it's like you build and build and build, and then but all stories kind of, they have to end and leave you with unresolved what's going to happen in the future.
I feel like it's really similar to First Law.
It does have, it definitely shares common DNA in my head. The 2 series that I would put on the pedestal are First Law and Game of Thrones. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the only thing
I was going to say. Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. I was just interjecting.
I haven't read the Game of Thrones series. I haven't read the First Law series, but the closest connection I can draw, strangely, is Tolkien and Hobbit and Lord of the Rings and intergenerational characters and a common persistent enemy. But I mean, that's really, really paring down the connections
really reaching
to make
into like the core. Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's stripping away all of the details to find any
one
sort
true
of connections
power that everyone's seeking. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's truly that connected to that, but that is the closest thing off the top of my head that I can answer with.
It reminds me of like if you were to take like a biography of, like if you were to adapt something about like Julius and Augustus Caesar for TV, and then after doing that, write a novelization of the HBO prestige series about the Caesars. Sort of like that, because there's a lot. It's like a family history, but with intimate details. You want to give her like a real history book.
Yeah, it was like Game of Thrones on fast forward.
Yeah, it's like it's like Fire and Blood, but with the narration filled in.
Right. That was probably the closest I could think, as far as like intergenerational type stuff.
I gave up on Game of Thrones because he just stopped writing and is old, unhealthy. And I was like, he's never going to finish it, so I'm not going to give him my time.
He's going
to die before he finishes it, so I'm not going to read it.
I don't think that's true. I have so much faith
in
Martin.
I think he will get Winds of Winter.
What's his BMI?
Believe it or not, he's only 37 years old.
That's just what New Jersey does to a guy.
Bad diet.
I just need him to get Winds of Winter out. If he doesn't get that out, then I'll be disappointed. But I don't have much hope for number 7. He
finishes Winds of Winter and then gives the notes that he has for the very end for A Dream of Spring to Joe Abercrombie. And
I'm sure it'll be finished.
Because no one delivers more satisfying endings.
I'm just saying, until he dies, I'm not. Because what if his will is like, don't fucking finish that shit?
Winds of Winter 2024. You heard it here for us first.
Logistically impossible.
I think so.
He's got like 70% of it done.
It's not.
Sure.
We're not gonna. It's not gonna be in hand though.
I think end of 2024 we're gonna have Winds of Winter.
Catch us on the
reunion. The idea of his will, just saying like, all those people that want to know what goes on with the rest of the series.
Fuck them.
Fuck them. This is the series die with me.
A lot of people are asking me, how does this book end?
Everything.
I don't give a shit. I figured it out years ago. I'm not going to tell you.
You don't deserve to know.
Canonically, the story ends the way that D&D told it.
Oh God!
I've got a fun question here, a larger question. Of all the countries vying for Kikon's Jade, who's the worst? Our list here is the Egutanians, the Shatarians, the Uewans, or the Espenians, of the ones that we are aware of.
Shatari.
Do you have any Shatarians? The ones that actually have it, for the most part.
They started all this bullshit.
The Espenians.
What is that?
The shitty people from Espenia that want the Jade. I just didn't really like them. Like Art, what's his face? Billionaire guy?
Wiles.
Yeah.
Gallo, Berglund, Scumbags.
They're actually the people that are vying for the Jade. They suck.
You didn't like the big business moguls?
Yeah, fuck them.
Jim Sunto, lame.
Fuck Big Jade.
Big Jade, evil. Okay.
You're out here for the little guy.
I feel like the Uewans, specifically because of the way that Zapunyo was able to unilaterally position himself as like this kingpin of Jade within that country. The way that country set up feels the most corrupt and exploitable, or rife for exploitation, in my mind. But I don't know anything about their population, and we have a much better understanding of the population of Espenia through a bevy of characters, and Shatar through Maru. So like we have some humanizing tempering of the evil feelings of the external forces vying for Jade.
I feel like the modern Shatarians do not want Jade at all. They're like horrified of it. But there are like the Barracan, I guess, right? Or whatever their dancers are called.
That was Yugatanians, right?
Egatanians? But yeah, we'll take Yugatanians for 100 points.
Okay.
That's a mixture of Uwewa Islands, Egatanians.
Yeah. No, the Shatarians, I think, are distancing themselves from it, which is interesting outside of the gangsters, of which are imitating KCON. I don't know. Who do you think is the worst? Go ahead, Peach.
Am I actually wrong in thinking that Barukan was Egatanian?
No. Yes, actually, sorry. Okay. Yeah, it's Chitaurian.
I don't know why I thought that.
Yeah.
Don't know where that came from. Cool.
There's a lot of places and people.
Yeah. Thomas, how do you feel?
That's a very tough question. I feel like my gut instinct is Espenian because, like Ben said, the ones that we spend time with that want Jade are like all scumbags. But then there's like all the shit that the Egatanians did with the abduction and that's the Chitaurians. But there's like all the different generations of like trafficking of Tetanese and Abuke women and stuff like that to get the Jade resistance into their soldiers. And the weird KGB eating Jade thing going on. I forget what those guys were called.
Yeah.
So that's pretty fucked up. You know, like
that is
the Espenians mostly are money hungry for Jade and like civilian casualties. None of it's good, really. Keep it in KCON. That's the lesson.
Very true. Which is the way it seems to go. I'm of the opinion that I think that the Egatanians are secretly the worst. We don't ultimately see it, but even getting the manipulation that we get and how easy they are for Ait to manipulate in the background, it just feels as though, to me, they're the obvious worst because she can literally promise them whatever and they will bend to her will. And as a whole country doing that we equivocate inside of the novel basically to Russia in origin feels bad, to say the least. But Chitaurians are a close second, I would think. Espenians, all of them are good picks, though, like straight up. Like everyone has a different reason for it. And so I think it's what makes this so interesting, too, as far as Jade War goes, is, you know, which direction do we go?
1A, 1B, 1C, 1D.
Yeah.
Cross, I was thinking you might pick KCON saying that the greedy Jade people are gangsters.
Well, it would be the Tetanese, not like KCON's good for the Abuke, but the Tetanese.
Well,
that's the base third-eyed cross take.
That's actually a good me take that I didn't even consider. So
that's something Cross would say. You're welcome.
I'm going to think about that for 2 seconds. And
that's a really good one. It's colonialism, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Naturally.
You're welcome, Cross, for being Cross today. For
giving me the enlightened perspective, you know?
The Cross perspective.
Just feeding it to me. Yeah. No. What was I going to say? Oh, I want to ask what your favorite book was. We got to talk about the favorites, right? Naturally, there are favorite moments, favorite books, favorite characters. Come on. We got some of these. What were some of your highlights of the read in all ways, shapes, and forms?
I think Jade Legacy was probably my favorite. I thought Fonda Lee did a really good job, like leading us through different countries and then kind of bringing us back to the core of the story for the finale. And I liked that we came home. I felt like Jade War was great, but I wanted to like only know what was going on KCON and not with the Daux and Espenia. So I liked being more focused at the end of Jade Legacy, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. I think every book in the series got better. I did not expect to like Jade Legacy the best at the start.
You guys were pretty low in Jade Legacy when we
especially
started.
The first quarter of it. Yeah. I was having a tough time, but it really paid off, I thought. And then like Jade War is also really good, but it ends on such a sour note that it's tough to say it's my favorite.
Yeah.
Jade City, I just remember as the book where Lon died.
Jade Legacy?
Jade City.
Oh.
Jade City. Where Lon.
It's the book where Lon died.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were parts that I liked.
Well, Jade City, and that was like when we were also... This kind of speaks to the format too. Is like I was still getting used to the format and just like talking about the book every 5 chapters. I'm
trying to remember, who everyone was,
and just trying to get an idea of like where it's going. And like we talked about with the idea of this being like a family story or like a cultural story, that was not evident at the beginning of Jade City, or not what I was expecting. I guess that's not what my expectations were. Not that that wasn't evident. It was evident. Not what my expectations were. So like my expectations were is like, who's the character that I should be latching on to right now? And I was having a tough time with that throughout all of Jade City.
Because you like Lon.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah. Lon's our boy. Lon's my boy.
Always.
Every time I reread Jade City, I'm just like, God, if we would have had you and we could have gotten Doru out of your ear, you would have been in such a better spot.
Yeah.
And killed Grandpa. There are a couple of factors that need to make Lon be the pillar that he needed to be, but yeah. PJ, where'd you land?
Totally in the same camp of Jade Legacy. It is more of everything from all of the stories, and I don't know. I love all of the additional characters. I love the breadth of it. I love the culmination of all the geopolitical aspects that have been introduced in the previous books and then further expanded upon and then kind of focused on. I love the epicness of this story. Really kind of reveled in it compared to the other two.
This series, I love that you brought in even just the term epic, because this series is often talked about as an epic fantasy series, which is fascinating in consideration against what a lot of other people consider epic fantasy, like Tolkien, like the Stormlight Archive, like all of these other big Swords and Sandals books or Swords and Armor books. And so to have that brought into the same conversation and be like really modernized in an interesting way is part of the reason that I adore this series way more than anyone trying to write anything else in that space right now.
And I think without the existence of the third book, I would agree with the criticisms of calling this series epic, but this book kind of solidified that for me.
Created the scale that you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. So humble beginnings grow into like dipping your foot into the water of a big bad world that you're not prepared for, into just dealing with it and thriving. You know, it was totally a growth story, and Legacy blossomed in a way that I totally didn't expect.
Yeah. It's a top 5 book for me, like straight out the gate. Legacy is I can't wait for you to reread it. And I think this leads into something that Thomas wanted to ask a little bit, and that Ben had brought up while Thomas was away for just a second. But the format obviously impacts a little bit of the reading experience. What do you feel? How do you guys feel about the format? And Thomas, obviously chime in with your thoughts on the whole thing, because it's an interesting experiment to not only read the books and then break down and talk about them, but also to do it in the way that we have historically.
I don't know how PJ does it.
I hated it.
That's my main takeaway is poor PJ. Especially like you take it for granted, like, you know, this is a series he's starting it. We're doing it pretty consistently. But he has to wait until this and then several more weeks for Lightbringer. And then he's going to be reading like 7 chapters at a time of Lightbringer. Tough.
3 months of Lightbringer.
I feel like I feel extra bad for PJ because PJ wasn't like reading before Cross made him do this.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just impressed.
So it's like,
I would not read it if you made me do that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way I feel about it. That's why I'm impressed by it. Yeah.
I'm glad
it was
that
more
PJ,
of a pace thing because PJ. Okay, anyway, sorry, Arian. I'm sorry.
I'm glad that PJ is now rereading Red Rising, and he's like, "Oh, this is fun." Like, yeah, that's what reading is. Reading
It was fun before too.
I think
I come out of it with a respect for PJ and just impressed by like his ability to
tenacity.
Do this. Like, just because I found it frustrating personally at times.
All times. Every time I had to like keep checking what chapter I was on.
Aaron was like, I'm going to fucking quit.
And then every time I had to stop reading, I was like, fucking Cross.
From
I like how
from a listener point of view. Well, it's your show. Who else is it? They teach.
It's your fault.
Well, you helped me pick the chapters.
I do. I like, intellectually, I understand why it's fun for people who have already read the books to listen to us suffer.
Agree.
Like I get why it works, but being on this side of it is fucking terrible.
Just not how I like to read a book, probably.
It's fucking torture.
It's tough.
It's so different because like when you're listening, especially like listening to Red Rising and with you guys, it's so fun. You're like, oh, this is so cool. PJ gets to experience it for the first time. We get to follow along with him. We get to hear his crazy theories. But doing it, and I self-impose it on myself for Jade War and Jade Legacy. It's so weird. It's such a weird experience, especially like Jade Legacy. There's all the time jumps, and then asking you guys to like theorize on things that you have no idea, and like the things you guys latch onto was super interesting, and like it's so weird. It's fun.
Yeah, I'm sure it's like it's good for content, but yes, as
the guinea pig.
Like not something I would like.
Now you see why PJ and I at least want to wear jade so we can overthrow our rulers,
oppressors. Oh no!
Well, I'm also wearing jade, so good luck.
I just like to jump in and defend Crossland, defend our format.
We all like the format.
Yes, it's very fun it's good for to give it shit when I like want to keep reading and like want to not stop at this cliffhanger, but at the same time, for the sake of consistency and for the sake of like keeping myself reading. Because I know for a fact that like I'm the same way with working out. I'm the same way with eating healthy. I need accountability. I need external forces. And for some reason, reading, I'm looping into that sort of aspect in that, like, I know that once in a while I would go and read a book on my own, but like this is keeping me reading in a very, very consistent way. And I'm reading a certain amount every single week. And that feels very, very good. And when I don't have that external motivation to do that, being Crossland and this podcast, I'll slip and 6 months will go by and I haven't actually read a book yet. And I wouldn't have found all of these series. And truly, like, I love the ability to come and talk about these like harebrained theories that I've got about what's going on in this story. And yes, it's so much fun to go back and reread the Red Rising series. And I'm sure it will be to reread this series as well. But it's not better or worse. It's just a different experience. And I genuinely really, really enjoy being stuck at the point where Crossland wants me to be for the story that we're talking about.
He's sick.
So I understand that it feels torturous sometimes. But
yeah, I would agree. Like that's, I mean, I'm very intrinsically motivated to like read books because I've just done it all my life. So, and then I have a consistent style of the way I'm reading books. So I'm getting into the book. As soon as I get into the book, I want to read it. So it's just like
we're binge readers. That's what's so hard.
That was what was hard for me as opposed to like what PJ's experience was. And I think that's, I mean, I totally understand why you like it and why that works for you. I enjoy it. I will say, like, I enjoyed the theory aspect of it and like trying to break down the storytelling and guessing where it was going. Like, that's fun for me just because I've read a ton of stories and feel like I understand storytelling pretty well. So like me trying to figure out where the story is going just based on my experiences as a reader was fun. I did like that aspect.
So I've got a question for you guys. Did you end up reading it or listening to it more than once every given week, like that section? Or did you typically like listen to it one time and then go into the recording?
I would only reread it if we took longer than a week.
Yeah, I would typically,
and then I would always wait to start it to like a few days before we recorded.
I would for sure read it once, like every single time I read it. Obviously one time, but I would usually, like, depending on how much time had been in between recordings, I'd skim back through.
Mm-hmm.
but I always read it. I didn't listen to it until we listened to the last final 5 chapters, and then I reread those.
In the car, yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, PJ?
I typically read and listen at least once each. And sometimes I'll listen several times. And I feel like that was the biggest difference, was like really getting into the nitty gritty and focusing on things that probably didn't matter all that much, but made for some really fun
speculation.
Yeah, guesses or conclusions or insights. So I was just curious. I wasn't sure. But I'd always find myself like, I don't exactly remember what went on, and it's a day that we're recording. So I'm just going to listen again while I'm working and re-cement it in my brain.
Yeah. Thomas, I'm curious, of course, and maybe Ben and Aaron also have questions, but from your side of our side of the show, what was pro, con? What were some of your thoughts on the whole process of what we did? It's more meta. But,
Is this an anonymous survey?
Yeah.
Or?
No, it's not anonymous.
I thought
on a scale from 1 to 10.
So unlike y'all collectively, I don't host a literary podcast. I haven't done anything like this before. After doing it, I don't want to ever again. However, if you were to ask, I would say yes, and I would enjoy it very much, like I did this time. This isn't how I consume books. I'm not like...
I've never been crucified so clearly before over the course of 20 minutes.
I love cheesy murder mysteries, and other than that, if I'm not reading one of those, I'm not trying to guess what happens next. I'm just enjoying it. I'm riding by the seat of my pants. Breaking it up like this was crazy. You guys, I have a lot of respect for what you do. I just like to be like, wham, bam, this cool explosion happened. Like, that was sick. So, that said, I really enjoyed this. I feel like we made some magic here. So this was awesome. And as like a book reader, magic. I grew. Hopefully as a podcaster, I grew. Hopefully people out there enjoyed it. I like the format in general.
Say, I don't want Cross to feel crucified.
No, not at all. He's not hung on his namesake by any means.
For the content.
Oh God.
It's good content for people that want, this type of thing.
Want me to feel tortured?
Yeah, there are a billion book recap podcasts out there now.
For the record, that's me specifically. Yeah. Sorry.
There's like a billion book recap podcasts out there now, and I haven't come across many. This is the only one I've come across where one of the people is in the dark. And in this case, 3 of the people were in the dark. That said, I don't really love
next
book
time,
reading
Thomas,
podcasts.
you'll be in the dark.
I just listen because I love y'all. If we weren't friends, like I didn't even listen. I gave up on binge mode. I was like, I'll just read the book. So like, I like you guys. But
thanks, Thomas.
Cross is good at this, I will say. Very thoughtful.
Well, thanks. I try to be. I like that you said that. I think that we captured magic because I think there were a lot of moments where there were some great arguments and great character conversations, and that's personally more than just like the predicting what's happening next. That's what I like try to shoot for in a lot of this is like, hey, like let's get thinking about like where this person might be going or like why they would choose this decision because it starts to create that like foundational logic of why the author wrote this to begin with and like what are they trying to say, and so. Often that's what I'm going for.
I think Fonda Lee was just trying to say that Jade is cool and that gangsters are cool and gangster stories are cool.
I'm so glad that you're on my side of the storytelling part of this here. You definitely helped all the time. No, Thomas, you did a great job. I would never besmirch.
That's my job.
Any of
your honor
part that we did. Yeah, or your honor. But thank you for suffering through it with me as a part of this show.
Suffered is too strong a word.
Well, yeah, sure. Totally get that. All right. We've got a couple of fan questions that are fun to break up some of this. So from one of our patrons, Zypress, of the various restaurants, clubs, bars, etc. in the series, which one would you most want to go to?
The Twice Lucky.
Yeah. Easy.
This I love the Twice Lucky as an answer. Don't want to besmirch that by any stretch. This is such a fun question because Fonda Lee loves this so much that she wrote an entire traveler's guide to Janloon, which is this like 10-page novella-esque thing that is just like flip through and you get all the descriptions of the different restaurants and their like ratings and the distances from places, the streets they're on, as a part of her Patreon that she did when the year that Jade Legacy was coming out. And cool. It's a part, I believe, of Jade Shards. So we'll get to read it soon.
I'm saying the double-double. I fucking love a casino.
Mine's the double-double with the distillery underneath.
Specifically, I want to go to the distillery because I want to try Hoji and I want to support No Peak.
And you want that monkey to serve it to you. Men.
What was that?
You want the monkey to serve
I want
it to
Monkey
you.
Man. I want to see Monkey Man. No. As cool as it would be to hang out with a monkey, I mostly just want to experience really, really good Hoji. And I don't know, see a new blossoming place within the city.
Let me tell you why you're wrong.
But
here's the thing, right? This Hochi, No Peak owned business, definitely serve at the Twice Lucky. I can get that at the Twice Lucky. I can't get Mr. Une's crispy squid balls at the double-double. I need those crispy squid balls.
Yeah, but Mr. Une and his crispy squid balls are with the wind. They brought on some fancy schmancy external chef to revamp the menu after things went to shit.
Here's the thing: you fail to comprehend.
We don't have Mr. Une's squid balls. We've got some other dude, foreign Egatanian monsters squid balls.
But here's the thing: I'm going there with Hilo. So I'm getting the best crispy squid balls. Okay. I'm a member of the clan. Okay. I'm Jade as fuck. I'm getting the best.
There we go.
Crispy squid balls. Believe you me.
Ben, you just want to go because it's a casino? Is that your move?
I just love Vice, guys. Just any kind of
Kansas City
gambling,
Vice,
alcohol. I just like it a lot. So
that's why you showed up.
I thought you meant the show.
The whole show.
Also, shout out
Vice in general.
Is it the Hot Hut with the fried bread?
Yes, the Hot Hut.
I think the perfect move is here's what we do: brunch at the Twice Lucky, casino until 3 a.m.
Wait,
Hot Hut on the way home.
Yeah,
Hot Hut. So we're
starting at brunch.
I think we're going to
dinner. Need a nap.
Dinner at Twice Lucky.
You think there's not a Hot Hut kiosk at the casino?
There might be.
So the place where Shay goes for the negotiations is brunch for sure. They definitely run a brunch service at that high-end restaurant. I cannot remember what it's called for the life of me right now. Golden Lounge, something like that, where she keeps bringing the Espenian folks to. But that's brunch. Twice Lucky is dinner, and then Hot Hut on the way back.
Nap in between.
Don't nap.
I mean, you can nap while we're gambling. Yeah, that's fine.
I'm counting cards, too.
Oh, God, yeah. You and I, we're creating a tag team.
You're selling dim for sure. All right. Following that up, do you want to ask the next one, Thomas?
Not particularly. But I will.
Sure, I can ask it.
This comes from our delightful listener, Ivana. If, for some reason, it was Hilo who was struck with the jade intolerance of Lake Shay, what would he have done? Would he have remained pillar? Would he have gotten a desk job? Would he have become an artist?
Or gasp, an author?
I think he would have remained pillar until Nico could take over and continue to support him.
Yeah, I think I would agree on the remaining pillar thing, but what would he do after he retires from being pillar?
Just be a dad.
I know. Well, I guess it depends on what age he is, but I think there's a very...
Drunk Ben is moving his mic so much, it's very funny to me.
I picture just like, for some reason, he rolls up in the Duchesse, Rough Riders Anthem is playing, and he's just AK-47 at the Mata Mansion. Like there's like he jumps out as it blows up. Like there's a bomb in the Duchesse. He leaps out, it crashes into the mansion through the gates, explosion. He's just like, oh, and it's like, whoa, oh, that's how Rough Riders go. That's what I could trap.
I like that.
But that's his career is drive-by.
No. Like he's suicide mission to kill Ike.
I think he goes out in a blaze of glory.
Killing Ike.
Yeah.
I see.
No more ice show for him.
I think Hilo cares too much about greenness to remain pillar. And there's kind of a change of heart with... And I wouldn't necessarily call it a change of heart, but he is unique in his perspectives given Wen and Rue being in his life and showing him the greenless side of clan life. But I think he would still probably fairly quickly name Shay as interim pillar until Nico could come to age and into pillarship.
Maybe he gets really into Rue's causes.
We already saw him do that, and I think he would get even more entrenched in it. But I don't think he would remain pillar without wearing Jade because of his convictions and understandings of what is needed to be the pillar of a Greenbone clan. Of a Greenbone clan. I don't think it would make sense. I don't think it would be safe for him to be pillar without being green, and I don't think. I think it would cause a cultural divide amongst the Lantern Men and the Fists and the Fingers and everybody that below him to not wear Jade and to still lead the Greenbones.
I dig it. I think Hilo would become a romantic poet. I think that he would roll into himself a little bit and would spend a lot of time with Wen. I think that he would ensure that he can hand off his duties as much as he could. But I think that he would wind down his responsibility pretty quickly because of his relationship to Aisho and whatnot. So I think I'm more on Ben's side there. All right. We have an interesting tease of a question here from Swartness, a follower on Instagram. And they ask, thoughts on Fonda's description of the new novel that she's working on. So I'm going to read it to you. I haven't read it myself yet, but I just found it moments ago. I'm excited to present to you the quick synopsis of her new novel that's coming out. So it's called The Last Contract of Isako. So The Last Contract of Isako is a cyberpunk samurai space opera that's been percolating in my brain for years. It's a science fiction mystery Chanabra story set on the harsh Arrakis-style tundra planet, but blend in Blade Runner vibes and a touch of John Wick. I very much look forward to introducing readers to Isako.
Say less.
I'm in on that.
Yeah, that's a crazy pitch.
Hey, here are like
a lot of buttons pressed there where I'm
incredible vibes. Let me put them in one story, and you already know that I'm incredible.
Yeah, like, already in.
It's not like some random person being like, it's basically blah, 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 blah. This is someone we know is incredible, and also incredible at bringing like homages to like fucking.
Kurosawa,
and like Dune, Japanese, what is the called? The Tokyo style films, Chenbara. All that stuff. Mm-hmm. So hell yeah.
When's it come out?
I would assume next year, given the announcement early this year. Oh, sorry. Oh, it's not next year. Winter 2025. She signed to a multi-book contract for it. So
nice.
I'll wait.
We'll see you then. Except I'm not going chapter by chapter.
Yeah, I'm not signing up to read that 5 chapters.
Yeah, I'm reading that.
It was more than 5 chapters at a time.
I'm going to read it at whatever pace I fucking want, which is all night.
Maybe all night.
Blisteringly. Yeah.
I'm in on it, but I feel like if I was given that description without knowing the chops that she's already got, I don't know if I'd even give it a chance. It sounds so fucking ambitious and too many
concepts,
too many things going on that I think I would pass it. But knowing her and her ability to write, and given our experience with this series, I am basically willing to willing to give leash to literally anything she wants to write, and I'll be perfectly content with it. So yeah, I'm excited for it because it's her, not because of the pitch itself.
Dope. I'm so excited. As anyone who listens to the show knows, I'm strictly no hype, so I had no idea about this.
You've been hyped.
I am. This is an acceptable level of hype. I could take this. I can take this. I'm totally down for it. But I'm very excited now. So it's nice to know the next thing that's going to happen. Similarly with Joe Abercrombie and his next crime series that is very inspired by my favorite crime movie director. So I'm excited. But I wanted to ask, of course, we didn't really talk about this. We talked about favorite books, but favorite moments. Where do we land on the highlights of the series?
I mean, the Shay Knight duel probably is.
It's a damn good choice. It's the best duel in the series in my head.
Yeah, that's probably the highest point for me.
I like the Gaunt Ash and in Hilo,
trick.
Hiding in dead horses-esque trick. Quipow. That was Andin throwing back all the Jade energy.
The Jade.
You got a Quipow. That one was pretty cool, and she buried the lead really well. I had no idea what was going to happen.
I don't want to actively try to resell or talk about a different series with any sort of spoiler, but to me, if I compare the end of Morningstar to the end of Jade City, Fonda Lee did what Pierce Brown wanted to do in Morningstar in my head and make that feel satisfying in the way that lead was buried.
Mm-hmm.
You see that?
No spoilers.
Yeah. Not that I like the ending, of course, but that is continually my one critique.
It's just
of
hard
Morningstar.
when you're in first person.
Right. Entirely. Yeah, that is the tough part.
That's not my critique of Morningstar.
Well, I know, but we disagree.
What's another good one? I liked.
I mean, the whole like helicopter thing, plus like nailing Jim Sunto to the wall like a little bitch.
That was fun.
I never saw Ben so hyped when something happened in a book, when he was like, let's fucking go, when we were in the car with Jim Sunto.
That was also pretty satisfying.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm so sentimental about this today, but or like it before sitting down and recording this, I don't think I would have given the same answer, but through our conversations and through really, really thinking about this story, my favorite moments are the sort of collaborative sections of the interactions between Rue and Nico throughout their lives. There's individually, I don't think they mean that much or hit that much, but all of them together as this retrospective and flip book of the growth and development of the sons of the Pillar of No Peak. It's really kind of a beautiful story. And I can't stop thinking about that for some reason tonight.
Rue hits hard.
Definitely.
We're talking about our favorite moments.
I derail everything. You made something up.
I mean, you're allowed. You're allowed.
I'm gonna say I liked when Hilo prevented Amy from stealing the heir of No Peak. That is a joke, but it's not my favorite moment. My least favorite moment because I love Hilo so much.
I like when Jaya pulls a Hilo and blows up the building.
Cool.
That was pretty good.
I will shout out our friend, noted idiot, Call Lon. His duel at the factory, pretty sick.
You fucker.
Pretty awesome.
This duel is good.
That was good.
It's the only Moonblade duel, right? The proper Moonblade.
Don't the girls, the girlies.
Sorry.
Nope.
Daggers. Yeah.
We also get Hilo.
Yeah.
Dueling.
The son of the horn. Yeah.
It's a flashback. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I would also add in Andin saving Win, just because the end of that book is so difficult that if we didn't get that moment, that would be just soul crushing.
Yeah.
And I'll probably take this time now to say that Andon, my guy, probably my second favorite character in this entire series by the end of it.
Bam! That's what I wanted. I've never been so redeemed in a moment, because Andon is my favorite character in the story. I love Hilo to death, and his death hurts me so badly. But fucking Andon, man. Ugh.
I would say Andon came around big time between Jade War and Jade Legacy.
Yeah.
I really liked his development as a character. His was probably my favorite journey overall, from where he started to where he ended. And then I would say Shay was my favorite character for the entire book. I mean, for the entire series, but
Team Shay.
Yeah.
Put her Jade back on. That's all I cared about.
She won you over in 180 pages.
Lots of good moments. It's hard to remember them all.
Yeah, there's way too many.
Just freeballing it. I'm sure we missed a
We
lot.
missed 97 each.
Of course.
I really liked all the history, and I liked the going into the mines and seeing like how the jade is extracted, and just the whole world.
A lot of the shading of the world was really fun.
Yeah, lots of deep meaning behind a lot of things, the religious stuff, and there's just so many layers. It'd be hard to pinpoint, but in general, I liked all of that stuff.
Is there anything that you wanted more from in the series? Is there anything that like you kind of wanted to pull on the threads a little bit more that leaves you wanting for an adaptation?
Wanting for an adaptation, meaning like into TV or something?
Oh, all I mean is like that would be adapted and expanded, right?
Oh,
so like
I want more. I wanted more crazy Greenbone action.
Yeah. Always.
I feel like I never quite got a full meal of crazy Greenbone action. I feel like I got a lot of like appetizers / like lunch.
Crispy squid balls?
But I never got like a full satisfying dinner of
sure.
crazy
for me,
Greenbone
the
action.
satisfying dinner is Nico's moment that happens with the truck.
That is fucking cool.
That's a very different kind of moment.
Fucking flip into it. That's cool.
But I can understand not
but they're all like short bursts. There's not like a
I think
longer fight. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like extended Greenbone action.
I think in the adaptation, then maybe it's in one of the short story collections. I don't know. But I think what you probably want to see is the Charge of the 20, when it's like a sustained battle and they have too much Jade. But it's like, I feel like, because there's all like the hand-to-hand stuff, and then there's later on, there's like the tactical sniping stuff of Vin the sniper. And then Hilo, past his prime Hilo, fucking takes out a helicopter. So you're like, can we...
I think the closest moment where I got what I wanted was No Peak coming down from the mountain in the first book.
Okay, I can understand that.
Like I wanted like
Carnage.
More
a full battle scene.
Yeah, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Like 10 versus 10.
In that sort of vein, I felt like the second book probably should have been titled Jade Cold War throughout a lot of it, in that like we didn't see any real active military sort of action on either of the clans. We saw a lot of really, really, really tense sort of border squabbles and the threat of all out violence, but we never really saw any sort of
but that wasn't
fucking
war
killing
that was
everybody.
Fought, you know what I mean? Like the war
I know
PJ,
Can I ask you a
war
question
of it all.
That's fair, but we still didn't really see that.
Jay, can I ask you a favor?
Sure.
You take off your semantics hat and set it aside and put on your publisher hat and ask yourself, Jade Cold War, does that sell copies?
I understand. I get it. And I think the title is still apt. It still makes sense. And
they'd have to get
that was more of a quip and joke than anything. But
I would say that especially in Jade Legacy, I would have liked to see a lot more of when she kind of gets suffocated, then like recovers, but we don't see a lot of her in the end of the book.
Pages.
Yeah. I'd like to see her when she's, what she's doing. I don't know. She kind of was just there at the end and then was sad.
Grieving. Yeah. She kind of fell into like Kalwan Ria's place in the story, right? In a way, near the end.
Which I felt like she had taken on so much ambition and, she was so greedy in the soul. And then it's like she and Shay both lost their Jade.
Mm-hmm.
I think
that's a great way of thinking about
some of her absence, though, is because she is doing a lot of her role as Pillarman still. But she's at the film festival for at least one of the things. And then later on, we don't have her point of view for a lot of it, which is what I think we're missing. But and she is devastated and gutted by all the loss. But I do think, even if it's not incredibly evident, that she isn't all the way diminished.
I don't think that it's even that Fonda is even trying to suggest that she's diminished. I think that she's trying to say that the losses in these sort of families break people no matter how strong you are. And I think that that's what I get from Wen's perspective when comparing to Kalwan Ria, is that Wen is, despite being, in my opinion, the greenest person in the entire story, neck and neck with Andon, trying to sort a lot of that out and being immediately compared in her POV chapters consistently in the back half of this book with Kalwan Ria being just in the shadow. It feels like that is the intention that she's trying to paint for us, is painting this sort of, it's unfortunate to be the wife of a person in power. You are always going to suffer losses of a family in power, regardless of whether or not you hold the power yourself as well. It's just my little...
The answer is just
Salt Bay.
If you don't care about anyone, you don't use anyone. It's like Ait.
Hashtag
Ait lost one guy to old age. That's all she gave a fuck about.
Now Swinson.
It's a great segue. Who's the best of the villains? Who's the worst of the villains? Meaning, the ones that we liked or hated the most.
I thought Ait was pretty cool.
We know.
All the villains were fucking cool except for Barrow, who was...
I loved Gaunt Ash.
Yeah, Gaunt was probably
I want to squeeze Gaunt
coolest.
Ash's bicep.
He was probably the coolest overall. Now Swinson was creepiest for sure. Scariest.
He gives off big that character in book 6 vibes of Red Rising.
Yeah. Definitely.
I see him more as the scary guy in We're Back, the dinosaur movie. The ringleader guy.
No, right. I recall.
He's so scary. That's what now Swinson looks like, at least.
In your head?
It's Professor Screw Eyes.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for summoning that, because you did you posted that image forever and a half ago, and I died when you tagged us in it, of course. But it's lovely.
We're back.
Made me revisit a whole part of my life.
You've forgotten. I'm sorry.
Yeah. PJ, where do you land on villains?
Mata.
I mean, okay, Mata's the cheat answer because, that's the head. Give me the other one.
But truly, I don't think that I would have answered Mata until the last 50 pages of this book.
That's fair.
Her tenacity and drive and venom runs so fucking deep, and deeper than I even believed until this final section that we read.
Yeah, she has that Mamba mentality for sure.
Tough. It's a good way to put that out there. So we have a fan of ours from Instagram asking, other Al Andromedus, thank you so much for this question. Other than Lightbringer, will we read anything as good as this series on this podcast in the future?
That is entirely up to Crossland, and my book reading fate is in his hands.
Aren't you planning to read the Dark Tower at some point?
I have a hypothetical question. Yes, I have a hypothetical question to the three people on the show of whom have read the next two book series that we will cover outside of Red Rising. So, Ben, without spoiling anything, how do you feel about this book series versus The Dark Tower?
I would say that for me, The Dark Tower is probably, it's one of the best series that I've ever read. So,
yeah, it's my favorite book series of all time. So
this is very good, but Dark Tower is fucking awesome.
Yeah, I'm psyched to read The Dark Tower in the show. As reiterated many a time, it has been my favorite book series for a very long time. I've reread it multiple times. I will never. There's only been one series that's gotten close, and it's the other one that we're going to read on the show, which both Thomas and Aaron have read at least the first trilogy of.
Yeah, I've only
read
the first trilogy. I would put this pretty fairly above the first trilogy of the first Law, but I don't think Cross agrees. But I'm not sure.
I think that this is above the first trilogy. I do not believe it is above the other 6 books, but
yeah, I definitely also, though, I wasn't rocking with
like book by book exceptions.
Right. I wasn't rocking with the first Law as
books
much.
am I signing up for, right?
You're going to read until you die.
PJ, on our podcast, you have a minimum threshold of 15 books left.
Does that include the Poppy War trilogy?
That includes Red God. No, it does not, but that's on Short Pours. So those will be one-shots.
Well, there's 9 in the first Law.
Yep.
There's 4, soon to be 5 in Stormlight.
Well, there's going to be 10 in Stormlight, and we're doing those differently. Right. We've already determined that. That doesn't count. I'm only counting the first Law and Dark Tower in this count.
You just said number of books in this podcast going forward. So
not a
He's
lawyer.
already lying to you because that's first Law plus Dark Tower is 16 books.
It's true. He's right. Actually, it's 17, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, technically, I guess it would be 17.
7 plus 1 plus a novella. Yeah. And we're not counting the Sharp End short story collection, which you have to read before you read the second trilogy. So
plus
really,
Insomnia.
that's 10 books. So it's 18 books. Oh God, yeah, fuck me. And we have to read Salem's Lot, Insomnia, and The Stand. So we're at 20 books.
PJ, you're cooked, my boy. You're cooked. Plus, you have to read Good Omens just for the vibes. That's just for fun.
That is absolutely. That's just going to cure. That's a cure-all. So.
Deal.
But we got Thomas's thoughts. So ranked against this, you would rate the original trilogy of the first Law lower. I generally agree with that, especially approaching Legacy. I think that the Last Argument of Kings is better than War, but that's its own thing. As a series comparison, it's tough. Aaron, where do you stand? You've not read The Dark Tower.
No.
First Law versus...
You have read.
I love First Law. I can't.
Did you finish all 9?
Yeah, I read all 9, so I'm trying to think.
You didn't even talk to me about your feelings on the last 3 books.
Wait, did I read 6?
Oh, you read the first 6 books. Yeah, because I think you just read through Red Country. A Little Hatred would have been the start of the
What are the last
series. 3? Little Hatred.
It's hard for me to compare. I don't even remember what the titles are. I finished Before
I feel like
They're
you only
Hanged,
read...
Best Served Cold, Last Argument of Kings, Blade itself.
So the sequel series
the
is
Heroes.
A Little Hatred, Trouble with Peace, and The Wisdom of Crowds.
Okay. I read 6. I read 6 books. I guess I stopped.
6 of 9.
I didn't know I was supposed to keep going.
Oh, there's 3 more in a short story collection. I would recommend the short story collection before you read the final trilogy.
So yeah, I read 6 of them
so far. How do you feel about those versus this series? What are your thoughts?
I don't think I can compare because of the way that you forced me to read this. It made it less enjoyable. And I'm not making eye contact.
Stare at the wall. Don't talk to Crossland. It's already been shamed enough.
Yeah, I'd have to like reread this as I like to read, and then I might it's hard to tell.
Okay,
I really liked
That's interesting.
First Law. I probably would like the characters in Jade, all of these books, more. I would assume. This is very.
They've got more positive traits. Well, we can put that out there without any spoilers. Like there is no question.
And Monscaro.
Monza Mercato.
Yeah.
Character of all time.
Sex scenes made me uncomfortable.
I mean, I think
this
that's
one
the
in
intent,
particular.
but yeah.
But now I'm remembering those characters. I really like them too. I'd say tied right now.
I'm in a very tight race between the two series, but I think on the whole, part of it is just that there's more in the First Law universe. So, but the Dark Tower reigns supreme. So,
is Dark Tower scary?
It's not scary. No. It's like
there are a couple of frightening moments.
I would say it's a little.
I've never read any Stephen King.
It's a little dark for you, probably, but
it's not darker than the First Law.
I'm not sure. I just don't know how Aaron makes it through Gunslinger.
Well, I don't know how anyone makes it through Gunslinger. That's a separate question entirely. You just have to advise your friends and be like, hey, by the way, the first book is a little rough, but you'll come to really appreciate it when you reread the series.
Yeah.
But at first, you're going to be like, why the fuck am I rooting for this man?
But I would say, drawing of the three, fucking incredible.
Cocaine-fueled rocket ride.
I would say The Wolves of the Kella is probably like, I mean, it's in my top 3 favorite books ever.
Or the other 2.
I'll read it. I'm busy.
Boy, put me on the spot.
You put yourself on the spot.
You said top 3. We got to know.
Lightbringer.
I mean,
Wolves is a top book for me, so I get it.
It's very good. I was just, I was said top 3 because I didn't want to say it was my favorite. I mean, honestly, Wizard and Glass, I might like more than Wolves. So
that's such a good take. That's so tough.
Y'all are speaking gibberish.
Are these all still
the Dark Towers?
Those are all Dark Towers. Yeah.
It is multiple top 10 books for me, and I have to restrict myself and say I can only choose one book in a series to put it into my top 10.
Yeah,
because otherwise,
if I was doing that, then I would
7 of my spots are taken.
Yeah, if I was doing that, I'd probably pick Wizard and Glass. Then
I'll just read that one.
You could actually. It's its own self-contained story.
It's a standalone.
What a hack!
All right, dope. So thank you for answering that question, Andromedus. What a great question to pose, because those are basically the 2 book series that we're planning on tackling on the podcast next. So here we go. Woo! What order? Who knows? I'll decide after Lightbringer or in the middle of Lightbringer. I'm not sure. Regardless, we will bring back Ben at the very least as a guest, and maybe Aaron for one of those or several of those books.
I have the Blade itself at home too. I haven't started it yet.
Ready for First Law.
Read it. You gotta read it, fam. Yeah, no, Aaron, you're penciled in already.
I wasn't ready to
leave your book of choice.
Jump into a large series after Lightbringer. I'm still just very much struggling to read any other book other than Lightbringer. So I started a Star Wars book. So I'm just going to read that as a palate cleanser.
It's joy.
I'm reading Murderbot. That's my palate cleanser.
Murderbot is also joy.
The books are way too short. Anyways.
Star Wars books are my just like fallback little treat books.
Little treat, yeah.
Yeah.
Murderbot's a treat.
They're 160-page treats, except for the 2 novels, which are longer and also treats. So when you get to those, enjoy them. From Daniel Kennemore, our last question from folks here. In the end, was the mountain truly beaten, or is it just cheaper to pay tribute than to fight?
I think Mata made sure that the mountain fucking crumbled without her there.
I think they conceded, so they were beaten. They could have fought. And
I don't think they were united enough to
fight. It was just
fight.
cheaper to pay tribute than fight, but also they didn't have the stomach for it. The leader conceded, so to me, they got beaten.
I think Mata was, in all intents and purposes, the Mountain Clan. And when she went down, they didn't have the unity or the leadership or the tenacity to maintain and needed to concede. So I think taking down Aitmata was taking down the Mountain Clan. And existing is not the same as... They didn't... There's no way they could exist in the same way that they did before Aitmata was dispatched in the way that she was. And furthermore, I think that even if she was able to successfully murder her enemies and successors in the attempt that she had, I don't think she would have been able to come back in the same force that she did. No Peak would have also been at more of a disadvantage, but there would be no unity in the Mountain Clan, and No Peak would have been able to put someone forward as a successor and maintain the unity, because there wasn't the fractured questioning of leadership that was going on before that meeting.
So they lost, in summary.
I mean, yes, but with more complexity, Aaron. How dare you?
I'm saying all three of us
here.
All three of us say
yeah, they lost. We're sure.
Thomas, where do you?
They lost. I mean, like they crumpled. They still exist. So it's not just that, but a bunch of the tributaries split off to join No Peak. A bunch of other families left to start their own clans. The loyalists left. So it's not just like there wasn't even a unified decision to go over to No Peak. It crumbled. It ceased to exist. Even though, like, the name exists, but, like, as a power, it ceased to exist. That's a loss.
Yeah.
Economics hard to be factored in.
Totally. I can dig that. Yeah, I'm on the same end. I think that, like, just them paying tribute is still in and of itself a loss, but they're very shell of themselves regardless. So there's no way that they will ever come back in the way that they were. And the Spear and the Torch are no more. And the family of the Torch of Cade Khan remains. So, yeah. Strong end.
Now, we have a fun question here. I stole it from the Rewatchables podcast. If you could have one piece of merch from this series, from the world of the series, what would you want? Could be food, could be a weapon, could be a car, could be Ike's ear.
I have several bookmarks, and I have a couple of different things that I got as a part of a package from, I believe, the Broken Binding. Either was the Broken Binding or the other... Oh my God, the other book subscription service, of which actually rules, that included a couple of tea plates that have the Twice Lucky on them, and I fucking adore them so much. And I'm not a fan of collectibles like that in a big way, but I love those.
I've got a few answers. I mean, obviously, we've talked about crispy squid balls. Gotta have it. From the Twice Lucky. Give me a bottle of Iton's Hoji, for sure.
Yep.
And, like, I would like Hilo's car.
Okay, Duchesse or the Duchesse Empress or whatever they call this second one.
Yeah. Yes.
Empresa.
Yeah.
I see a Duchesse as like a big Cadillac.
Yeah, it's totally a caddy.
And then
in this scenario,
I would say one last thing: Lon's Moonblade. Just if I'm being greedy.
Specifically Lon's
Moonblade.
Is the coolest.
Yeah. It's the big Dantanori steel. The longest Moonblade that we see in the entire series. It's just legendary in and of itself.
In this scenario, is Jade bioenergetic?
I don't think so. Because that's the obvious answer.
Then I want all the fucking Jade.
All right, never mind. I lied. Yep, Thomas is right. Back up.
Sorry, I just because I would. That's the obvious answer.
You're right.
Man.
I was gonna say Aitmata's Jade bracelets.
So cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they'd be a baller look.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, like the snakes going up your arm. Yeah, that's good. That's a good choice.
Sick.
Thomas, what are you?
I would think most of what Ben said. Obviously, squid balls, delicious. Need them. A car, any of the cars, really, just based on Fonda's descriptions of them. But really, I want the Duchesse. I am gonna make a request that mine is a hybrid of some sort, maybe an EV if that's possible. I can't imagine that thing is very eco-friendly.
Of course.
Maybe not. I'll just keep it parked in the garage, though. Worst case scenario. Also, I would like some of Lope's throwing knives. I think that would be fun. Those would be cool. I'd also like Rue's non-reactive to bullshit shirt.
That is the one that I'm going to own. I'm sure someone has it on Etsy. If you have found it, or if someone has made it, please send it to us. I will buy one.
No, I know. I feel like this publishing company is very strict about that type of like fan merch.
Orbit? Yeah. Orbit's pretty okay. They're accepted comparatively, but
and fan artists get out there. We need the shirts.
Yeah.
I think I would go with, even though Jade is non-reactive, I'd still go with one of the watches meticulously created to smuggle and hide Jade. But I think it'd be really cool to have a mechanical piece with some Jade inlays hidden on the backside.
I am struggling with the name in the moment. The man who goes over to Spenia, family friend of the Dowks, dies, rocks the gloves. Nope.
Roan Toro.
Roan Toro. I want Roan Toro's gloves in the worst way. Without Jade. Just like the whole.
You just want some leather gloves.
Just go to the store.
But
just drop some rocks in the tips.
Just go to a tanner's and get some friendship beads.
Hey, fucking give me a moment. Right?
Why don't you want him with the Jade?
Interrupt you in the middle of your.
Yeah, but that's like the vibe
Why'd
of the show.
Without the Jade.
God damn it. I could barely get a thought out. No. No, I like the idea of like Roan Toro's gloves. And I imagine instead of like having them tucked in, it would be like on the top of the knuckles to kind of give you like a little bit of a presentation on it for leather gloves, of course. But on the other side, I also I love the non-reactive to bullshit shirt so badly. But I like, give me an I did nothing wrong shirt just for the sake of it. You know what I mean?
We don't know what you mean.
That went down a lead balloon.
It did in the moment. I needed to put it out there in the moment. I feel like if anyone was going to agree with me, Aaron,
I feel like that's actually the next question, Cross, which is, if you could have any merchandise inspired by this series, what would it be? Cross would have you would have the black and
I did nothing.
Or I guess what would that shirt's color be? Would it be gold and jade together type of thing?
It would definitely be,
and then I would
interlaid with like,
or just like a green.
I'd be rocking the green. Hilo did nothing wrong. Green shirt, white font on that guy.
I want a 2 black or 2 green crew shirt.
Yeah, I want a VHS.
Nice crew on the back.
Set. Yeah, that's a good one. I want like a VHS set of black and green, and then 2 black, 2 green.
What is it? What's Jaya's army's name? It's the little
knives
and the little rascals.
Little knives shirt. Yeah. So, I said little fingers, which is not better, but
I want a denim jacket with a Little Knives back patch.
That would be sick.
Oh, hell yeah.
Or leather. I mean, you can go leather too, but I think denim.
Or a bomber. Like any type of jacket with that would be just sick.
Yeah.
It's a great idea. There's so many good merch ideas inside the series. There are only 2 final things to talk about. The first is Barrow.
Do we have to?
What about him?
What are we talking about Barrow for?
Just Barrow. I find Barrow to be the most interesting add to a story like this, right? Like, it is so interesting to have a street level view. It's something I've talked about in every single series that we've read so far on the podcast. And it's one of the things that I admire most is you have a real person in real society dealing with the real consequences, not only of their own actions, but also of the society and cultural things. So I feel like it's important to at least give Barrow a second.
I agree. Like, it adds a lot to the story as far as just a viewpoint goes.
I think we should give his second to Fonda Lee, though, and not.
Well, right. Yeah, ultimately it's to Fonda Lee for making the choice, but nonetheless, it's Barrow.
Fonda is Barrow.
Right. Fonda is everyone.
It does. So one of the things that you and I talked about quite a bit, Crossland, in our coverage of the Red Rising series is the lack of perspective of a non-peerless gold. And I feel like this is a this is handled such that we see more of the breadth of the entire population of Janloon throughout the story, and how the common person is affected by Greenbones. And he's a unique case for sure, but his interactions more predominantly are not with the elite of the elite that we're mostly interacting with this story. So it is our view of the rest of the society, which I appreciate.
Well said.
I liked Barrow.
Him and F. Yeah, I like... in the end, I hate Barrow for killing one of my favorite characters early on in the story, and for a lot of the choices that he makes, and for just generally being a scumbag. But I like Barrow because of everything that he adds to the story, because he is the scumbag, and because he is all of those things that we hate.
And he never changes.
He does a little bit. He does.
I'd argue he does quite a bit.
He goes from here to here, to back up to here.
It's like very low, kind of back up to
the graph.
I think the people did it. So it starts below where my host can see, my fellow co-host here, and then it goes even further down, and then it goes back to around where he started, and then it goes down again, and then it goes down again, and then it goes kind of like to the midway point. So if you picture like Tartarus, that's where we eat. That's like the lowest point.
That's right. Yeah, if you can just think of the Aeneid for a moment and consider some like great text by Virgil, we can have
if you just picture like Dante's Inferno, there's all the layers to hell. He starts off at the top, unless that's the good layer. I don't know which layers of hell. I didn't read it. I'm not even Italian.
Go down, yes. God damn it.
I'd argue that if we follow that sort of graph that you've explained but not shown to either the viewers or us.
The viewers, my cat has seen it, so my cat is the viewer.
Yeah, there you go. I'd argue that he elevates himself when he's genuinely and wholeheartedly in the clanless future movement, because his motivations and his goals are not selfish. And he has something that he is striving for, and the point is to better society. And it's a grudge, and it's vengeance to a certain degree because of how he was wronged by the clans. But it's not. I'd argue his motivation is not to exact revenge, but to make it such that the clans can't do the same to other people in his situations,
and to get fucked.
And then he starts using it as a means of hitting on girls, and that kind of brings it down again a little bit. But I'd argue that he does elevate himself beyond where he starts within the story.
Because I disagree with your point that he's doing it for the betterment of society and not to get revenge. I think he's doing it to get revenge, and a side effect of that is that it could better society, because he thinks, but I'm not right. You're not right. You might be right. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll find out.
It's fair.
In a couple of weeks. Aaron, are you alive?
No.
The water was laced with sodium.
It's laced with poisoned jade. All right. The very final thing in this episode is any final thoughts that you want to lay out there on the whole process, the whole thing, the whole damn kit and caboodle of the Greenbone saga, or the show.
This was fun. Had a good time spending many hours podcasting with you all. I appreciate you having us on, showing us this wonderful series. Got to meet some good characters, have some fun.
Met a new author.
Yeah. I appreciate it. So it's been fun collaborating.
Yeah, I'm sad that the book's over because I always get attached to characters. So, I think there's a few novellas. Maybe I'll check those out.
Anna just it's made it, I don't know. Like, we were already friends. All of us were friends, but now I feel like we're real friends.
We spent 100 hours together. Come on.
We spent a lot of time together.
There was this briefest moment in a second at HowlerCon where Aaron was like, well, I don't know him. And I'm like, what do you mean? You've talked to me for 100 hours.
I said, I met him today.
I literally met him today.
I literally met him today.
You actually met me the day before, which is even worse because you weren't willing to think about the fact that I was there. But anyway.
Today. I'm funny.
It was a good joke.
Thank you.
You were very funny. It was a very good joke.
Even at Krause's expense, I'm willing to be funny.
I think that proves that you've known him for longer because you're willing to shit on him at least a little bit.
It's my existence.
As I do with all my friends.
Yeah,
right.
I appreciate it.
Can
attest to that.
Mm-hmm.
Makes me sound really mean.
No, you were not mean. It was just a very funny moment. Anyway, I digress. No, Thomas, thoughts, feelings? How'd you shake out on the whole thing?
It's been unreal. That's all I gotta say.
Mid.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
All right. Well, sick. Cool, rad, dope. I'm very excited, and thank you guys so much, of course, again, for being on the show and for agreeing to do this for such a long time. We'll have a couple of episodes back, and you were just here's the bow. Here's me giving away the reins. Please read either of the novellas at your own leisure, but then make sure that you refresh yourself before we show up and we cover them.
Wow, thanks.
But we will do a couple of permission. Wow, Crossland. Wow. No, but please just go read them, whatever. And we will talk about them in the coming months. We've got another thing coming out at some point in September, which will be exciting. We'll obviously have y'all back to talk about Lightbringer once we get to the end of that in February.
Oh, poor PJ.
Jesus Christ. Lord almighty.
I'm
going to start sending
January.
him,
sorry, it's January. We'll record with you guys
clues
in February,
in the mail.
We'll have Thomas and Cross on our podcast without PJ prior to that.
Sorry, PJ.
To talk Lightbringer. Sorry,
likely.
PJ.
Likely.
Right.
I hate you, but I get it.
I will have
so sorry.
Aaron on my podcast when I finally talk about women.
Architecture.
And before that, it's women architects.
Architecture is
before that. I'm doing train movie, some sort of time period, and so the rest of y'all will be on for that. And Aaron, you're invited for train movies too.
Train movies.
Very excited. Can't wait to talk about Bullet Train.
Watch those.
On the list.
Yeah, so very excited for what's coming next. For those of you who are listening to this and haven't listened to any other episode at this point, or have strangely left a review that says, when are you guys going to talk about Lightbringer? The answer is, we're going to take a week off for the first time in a while. So next week, we're not going to be releasing anything. And we are going to instead resume in September with SOA 3 and then kick off with Lightbringer. So I unfortunately just have too much going on this week to record with PJ, and I'm so sorry, but we couldn't get to SOA before I have a wedding. It's going to take up 5 days of my week. So we're going to take a week off for once.
It's okay.
You deserve it.
Tell me,
For the second time in the podcast history.
Is that
3 years.
Are you serious?
Yeah, we've never missed a Thursday. We missed 2. This will be the
took a whole
second
year
Thursday.
I haven't recorded. I've
better than us.
I've recorded an episode in months, and I'd never announced why or anything. Just saying,
we've never missed a Thursday.
Boomer.
With a handful of exceptions of late episodes and stuff like that.
Take your PTO, Cross.
That's wild.
We are taking our PTO.
Take more than a week.
It's me.
No.
I give him a minute of PTO every week that we record.
Takes a while to build it.
Cashing in all of it.
The tables have turned. PJ is in charge.
You guys are hard workers.
PJ is secretly in charge, and this is a hard thing to do. But thank you guys again so much for coming on the show and for doing all of this with us. It was wild. I was psyched that you agreed, even though you maybe didn't fully understand the depth to which you agreed to do it.
I invited myself on hoping to get on one of the recap episodes.
Thomas had no idea what he was doing.
Also,
I was like, yeah, no, you can co-host with me.
I meant to bring this up earlier. So when I agreed, I was single at the time. So I was like, fuck it, I got time to hang out with this crew and podcast and read and do all this bullshit. Then all of a sudden you got a girlfriend. It's hard. You got to make time. You got to hang out with the girlfriend. You got to read. You got to write notes. I'm one Thomas. I can't clone myself.
Yeah, I totally get it. But thank you guys so much again for making this work. I know that everyone loved it, that listened to it, and can't wait to talk to the author of the series very soon.
Yes.
And then to talk about the other 2 novellas. So there's your tease.
So,
with that, again...
Well, before we get into our outro, I'd like to go back to something that we started doing and then kind of fell off of. Where can people find you guys going forward? Plug your shit.
Yeah, now's the time.
Howlerpod.com, howlerpod@gmail.com.
Howlerpod on all the socials.
On Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Etsy.
Twitter doesn't exist. Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
The new logo is such bullshit.
For the record, I have a Blue Sky invite for you guys. So,
what's that?
Yeah, Blue Sky, whatever the fuck that is.
Oh, yeah. Blue Sky.
I'll send it to you right now. So
we have to update our copy.
And you, Thomas.
We've been saying a bunch of dumb shit for 3 weeks now.
Thomas, where can we find you?
You can find High Tea Obsessed wherever you find podcasts. Also on Instagram. And now it's just High Tea Obsessed Podcast. And it's 2 words. High Tea is 1 word. It's, sometimes they're like, hey, make a podcast, make it easy to spell, make it easy to search, SEO friendly. I said, fuck that. I'm going to make it weird. It's going to be difficult to find.
Well done. Well done. If you're wondering what we're reading next, once again, it's Lightbringer, but we're going to do a brief stop off for SOA 3 because I think it's important. And if you've read the book,
what's SOA stand for?
Sons of Ares. Thank you, PJ. The Sons of Ares 3 comic we'll be making a stop off for the end of the graphic novel series. So with that, we're going to take a week off. We'll see you in September, but we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Well,
bye.
Yeah,
first,
I
have to actually.
I'll do it. I'll do it off the dome.
Actually, go through the normal.
Thank you,
dude.
As always, to super producers, Tim and Andrew. You keep the lights on, and by that I mean you literally go to PJ and Crossley's home every other Saturday, and you screw in every light bulb in their home. Because without them, without you two, Crossley and PJ would be like 2 orangutans at a zoo. And they're not the ones that they taught sign language. They're just looking at each other. So, truly...
they don't teach us anything. It's really mean.
Truly, Tim and Andrew, we love you.
Frontal nudity.
What? Also, that's his dick out.
From the orangutan. Anyway.
You can check out the links in our show notes. Tim and Andrew have let us keep those to ourselves. We can give you links to our Patreon, which is very, very fun and very cool, and you should join it. You can find our previous episodes, which presumably you've listened to a bunch of them, but if you haven't, and this is your first episode, I don't understand, but you can go back and find all the other ones in the show notes. You can find our websites and our social media accounts, and it's all in one little block of text. It's great.
That's so great.
Don't forget to rate and review 5 stars only. If you don't give us 5 stars only, then you can't meet Fonda Lee.
Who are we promising Fonda Lee's time for her from now on out? Is that what's happening?
They can't meet her.
They can't meet her. You don't get to listen to the next episode. We will specifically block you.
We'll slowly torture you by making you read an entire book series 5 chapters at a time.
No. With that, we'll talk to you later.
So long.
Bye.
Thanks for all the fish.